Chapter 690, Reincarnation Squad. After Zhang Yi had redeemed what he wanted was to go back to Tianhai City first and give these drugs to Lu Karen and Zhou Kur for research. After all, Tianhai City was not far from here, and it didn't take half a day to go back and forth. However, Bai Li Changqing stopped Zhang Yi, who wanted to go back. He smiled mysteriously and said, "I think it's better if you meet the people from the Reincarnation Squad first. Trust me, you won't be disappointed." Zhang Yi raised an eyebrow, a playful look on his face. "I'm not going to be the captain of the team, and even if I have to cooperate with the Reincarnation Squad, I don't need to be in charge. Brother Bai Li, you should be the captain of this team." Zhang Yi smiled and patted Bai Li's shoulder. Bai Li chuckled bitterly, "You think I don't want to? But if you don't have the ability, it's a crime to force yourself to take responsibility." He shook his head, and even felt a little remorseful for his initial greed. "Apart from you, there is no one more suitable to be the captain of the Sky Dogs," Zhang Yi said. "Oh? So that's why you wanted me to meet the people from the Samsara Squad?" "Not just that," Bai Li Changqing's smile grew wider. "The main reason is that the captain of the Samsara Squad is my friend. I hope to introduce you to him." "Friends, was it?" Zhang Yi shrugged. "Well, in that case, there's nothing wrong with meeting him." Bai Li Changqing said, "Okay, you come with me. They'll be back today. After you meet him, you should apply to Zhu Shui to return to Tianhai City." Out of respect, he still had to talk to Zhu Jing about it. Zhang Yi had no objection. He stored the medicine in his own other space and left the operations command center with Bai Li Changqing. Bai Li Changqing's car was parked in the parking space outside, and the two went over to get it. However, when they passed through the intersection, they suddenly saw cars speeding past on the road. Some people were even running happily towards the East City. Zhang Yi's hearing was still quite good, and he could vaguely hear what they were saying. The Reincarnation Squad has triumphed. They are the pride of the common people, and they have once again accomplished a brilliant mission. Hey, in comparison, the Heavenly Squad. Who says that only the sons of the rich can achieve great things? Our children from ordinary families are no worse than them. Gao Changkong, he is our pride. I have long said that he is much better than Deng Shintong." Zhang Yi watched as a group of people wearing down jackets ran towards the East City. Among them was a group of girls, waving high flags and shouting indistinct slogans. It sounded like something like "Your promise to me, I will never forget, I will keep it for the rest of my life." Zhang Yi looked a little dumbfounded. At a time like this, there was still such a powerful fandom culture. Bai Li Changqing drove the car out and couldn't help but laugh when he saw the dumbfounded Zhang Yi. "What do you think? Did you learn something?" Zhang Yi pointed at the girl group running past. "Don't they need to find a class to attend? They're so idle." Bai Li Changqing explained, "The girls who can run out to greet the reincarnation team are either from families where their parents work high-end professions and earn enough points to support them. Or they are." Bai Li Changqing thought about it and shrugged helplessly. "They are just ordinary people, but they went recklessly in pursuit of their stars. They're quite risky. If they don't earn enough points by skipping work, they'll have to sleep on the street, and they won't even have enough points to buy food, hot water or electricity." Zhang Yi looked at their receding backs and couldn't help but think of the slogan they were chanting. "Gao Changkong. Could it be that Gao Changkong?" Bai Li Changqing nodded. "Yes, it's that Gao Changkong. Gao Changkong, a name that was almost household in the Huashu Kingdom. He wasn't exactly a top celebrity, but an extremely talented basketball player. He first dominated the domestic scene, and later entered the NBA, playing for the Red Sun of Chi-Chi as a small forward for 12 years, and also having 3 championship rings." Zhang Yi turned his head and looked at Bai Li Changqing in the car. "Gao Changkong was the team's captain?" Bai Li Changqing nodded, his eyes shining with the same light as those of the group of female fans. "Yes. He is a very remarkable figure." Zhang Yi didn't play basketball much, but the name Gao Changkong was still well known to him. Basically, Anyone who could play basketball was enthusiastic about Gao Changkong. Zhang Yi couldn't help but exclaim, "Isn't this the perfect winner of life? Both before and after the end of the world, he has been so outstanding and dazzling." Bai Li Changqing said, "Throughout Blizzard City, Gao Changkong is one of the most popular people. Although compared to the super-rich second-generation Deng Shintong, his background is relatively ordinary and he doesn't have as good of resources. But in terms of influence among ordinary people, he may be even better." Zhang Yi also doesn't follow stars, so it's hard for him to judge. But thinking about it, this kind of super sports superstar is naturally very strong in terms of physical fitness, and it's not very surprising that he is a little stronger after the mutation. Zhang Yi got into the passenger seat very calmly. Bai Li Changqing started the car and drove along the highway towards the direction of the East City. The further they went towards the East City, the more congested the roads became. It was hard to imagine Blizzard City after the end of the world. However, Zhang Yi could see the excited and expectant eyes of fans everywhere. His ears were filled with people's praise for Gao Changkong and the Reincarnation Squad. He couldn't help but think that this enthusiasm might be related to the failed siege of Eclipse Moon. The Blizzard City hierarchy might even be deliberately promoting this kind of thing as a way to offset the dissatisfaction in the hearts of the people. Relying on Bai Li Changqing's special license plate, the two drove unimpeded towards the front. As long as they saw Bai Li Changqing's license plate, even if they owned it in front, they would take the initiative to get out of the way for them. The hierarchy in Blizzard City was strict and no joke. The car drove up to the city gate, and Zhang Yi finally saw the whereabouts. The doors of the two snowmobiles behind the device opened, and several team members stood by the doors, cheering and waving to the outside. Some Blizzard City staff members had hung a large red banner, which hung from the 30-meter-high wall of Blizzard City all the way to the ground. Congratulations to the Samsara squad on their expedition to Biting Lake and their triumphant return. On both sides of the road were countless enthusiastic fans cheering and shouting their names. Naturally, the one being shouted the most was naturally Gao Changkong's name. Zhang Yi and the others pulled over to the side of the road, and Bai Li Changqing told him that they could not continue any further. This was the Rebirth Squad's home turf, and they had to keep a low profile and not steal the show. "Oh." Zhang Yi responded indifferently, but he didn't see Gao Changkong's figure, and he should not have gotten out of the car. A moment later, he saw a few familiar figures. Tu Yunlai, the Minister of Operations, and several high-ranking officials by his side. After these people appeared, Gao Changkong finally got out of the car. He was tall, with an official height of 1.96 meters. Zhang Yi surveyed him. This person had a gentle smile on his face and looked very sunny. He was built and had always kept himself in good shape, and had not easily gained weight after retirement as was common with football stars. His naturally curly hair hangs down naturally, giving him a bit of a West Coast style. Gao Changkong's appearance inevitably caused another round of screams and cheers. Tu Yunlai encouraged Gao Changkong on behalf of Blizzard City, and then left, leaving the stage to Gao Changkong and the Reincarnation team. However, Gao Changkong's gaze fell on Bai Li Changqing's car not far away. The license plate number was very conspicuous and he recognized it immediately. Gao Changkong's mouth curled up into a smile and he raised his hand high in the air in their direction, signaling for Bai Li Changqing to go over. Bai Li Changqing smiled and said to Zhang Yi, "Let's go. Let's go say hi to them." Zhang Yi opened the car door and walked through the crowd with Bai Li Changqing. The surrounding audience looked at Zhang Yi with a surprised expression. "Who is this person? I've never seen him before. A new face." The one next to him seems to be Bai Li Changqing of the Black Robe Squad. "Hey, the Black Robe Squad is now half broken. The God Squad is. It's still the Cycle Squad that gives people peace of mind. Who says that the children of ordinary people in our homes are not as good as those of the nobles?" Some of the people in the city looked at Gao Changkong, who had a sunny and friendly face in the crowd, and felt a sense of pride from the bottom of their hearts. Chapter 691 Gao Changkong. Gao Changkong came from a commoner family and was not from the military. It can be said that he represents the common people's counterattack in Blizzard City, and his story is extremely inspiring. Therefore, he has a high reputation among the people. There are countless young girls in the city who are his little fans. Many girls even said in private that the ideal situation would be marrying Deng Shintong and having Gao Changkong as a lover. One was a domineering CEO with money, power, and good looks, while the other was a paladin of light who stood out only because of his warmth and sunshine. Zhang Yi finally felt the passion of fans pursuing their idols. But this was also a good thing. After the end of the world, people no longer sought after young and fresh meat, but rather valiant and fearless warriors. He wondered if he would receive the same treatment in the future. He lagged behind by Li Changqing by half a step and did not want to attract too much attention. However, Gao Changkong's gaze lingered on him for a while. Some people's identities could not be hidden. Your presence there was enough to stand out. Bai Li Changqing walked over and gave Gao Changkong a bear hug with a smile. Gao, congratulations. You didn't encounter any trouble on this trip to Biting Lake, did you? Gao Changkong smiled and said, fortunately, the creature we encountered this time was very strong but not very smart. It just had too many subordinates, which took up a lot of our time. He looked at Zhang Yi and asked, who is this? Bai Li Changqing quickly introduced Zhang Yi. Let me introduce you, his name is Zhang Yi. He is an outsider from Tianhai City. There is a long story about him, we can talk about it later. Although Bai Li Changqing's introduction was brief, there was no slight in Gao Changkong's eyes. Anyone that Bai Li Changqing would bring along in his car was at the very least someone of similar caliber. He was a master. Gao Changkong made this judgment in his heart. He walked over to Zhang Yi and extended his right hand. Zhang Yi, hello. I am Gao Changkong, the captain of the Samsara squad. Zhang Yi glanced at his right hand, which was wearing black leather gloves. Zhang Yi also wore gloves, so he shook hands with him. Captain Gao, I've heard a lot about you. While surveying Gao Changkong, Zhang Yi also took the opportunity to observe the members of the Samsara squad. The Samsara squad had a total of 9 members. However, the most notable were the 2 people standing next to Gao Changkong. Standing behind him to his left was a tall and gentle-looking woman with thick, black hair that fell to her hips. Such long hair was very rare and therefore very eye-catching. Combined with her slender figure and face, it was easy to be captivated. On the other side was a handsome man with his hair parted down the middle and his hands in his pockets. His face carried a mixture of wild, cold, uninhibited, and a touch of contempt. Gao Changkong faced the crowd and shouted, thank you all. We have returned safely, thank you for your concern. There was another burst of excited shouts from the crowd. Someone in the crowd shouted, brother, go kill Neon. This topic instantly ignited the emotions of the surrounding audience. Most people were extremely contemptuous of the country of Neon due to their emotions. Now that they saw Blizzard City lose twice in the battle against Eclipse Moon, they were furious. At this time, they all hoped that Gao Changkong could step forward and save face for the Jiangnan region and the entire Hu race. Captain Gao, kill Neon. Fuck them up. Those Neon kids are really annoying. Zhang Yi was a little speechless when he heard these voices. How could these people understand just how powerful Eclipse Moon really was? Always harboring arrogance and belittling your opponents will only lead you to become complacent and narrow-minded. Weakness and ignorance are not obstacles to survival, arrogance is. Gao Changkong heard this and his eyes looked a little strange, but he did not answer the fans' requests, just smiled and waved his hand. Then he said to Bai Li Changqing and Zhang Yi, I'll go to headquarters first to report to Zhu Shui about the mission. Then let's go somewhere and have a drink. I've been away for a long time and I'd like to ask you about what happened in Blizzard City recently. Bai Li Changqing scratched his head and said, you returned in victory, so the higher-ups should throw a welcome home party for you. Gao Changkong shook his head. I refused. When headquarters told me to come back, I heard something about Eclipse Moon. It's not the right time to make a big splash, it's easy to cause misunderstandings. The Divine Team had suffered heavy casualties, With Deng Shintong dying in battle, and the entire Deng family and the operations center were not in a good state. If the Samsara team celebrated in a big way, how could they not make people think it was a deliberate provocation? Gao Changkong had considered it thoroughly and would not make such a mistake. In that case, let's have a little get-together later, Bai Li Changqing said with a smile. Zhang Yi didn't say anything. He didn't like to talk too much in front of strangers. Before you don't know someone, speaking less will make fewer mistakes, and at the very least, it won't expose your weaknesses. Gao Changkong instructed his teammates behind him, especially his deputy team leader, the man with the center part in his hair, Jia Yushin. I'll go over in their car. Jia Yushin stared at Zhang Yi for a long time and nodded. Gao Changkong got into Bai Li Changqing's car. He sat in the passenger seat, and Zhang Yi sat in the back. The car set off towards the operations command center. After the welcome party ended, the fans went back to their respective work positions. The joy was only temporary. Most of the time, they still had to work hard just to survive. Along the way, Gao Changkong and Bai Li Changqing chatted easily. Zhang Yi could tell that their relationship was indeed good. Gao Changkong asked Bai Li Changqing about the eclipse. Bai Li Changqing sighed. That incident is not optimistic at all. He told Gao Changkong the whole story, including the failure of the last mission. Gao Changkong frowned after hearing it. Even Deng Shintong failed? Bai Li Changqing said, you came back at this time. If nothing goes wrong, the mission will fall on your shoulders. You must be prepared. Gao Changkong smiled, his eyes solemn, but his expression was calm. We are the order keepers of the Jiangnan region. No matter who wants to disrupt the peace and tranquility of this land, even if the opponent is very powerful, we will not be afraid to take action. Bai Li Changqing nodded, but this time, the headquarters has obviously attached greater importance to Eclipse Moon. The manpower dispatched from Blizzard City will definitely increase, and Zhu Shuai will definitely tell you this when you meet him later. Moreover, Eclipse Moon also suffered considerable losses in the battle. Although their team leader killed Deng Shintong, he was also seriously injured. Moreover, they suffered 5 casualties. Having said that, Bai Li Changqing gave a thumbs up to the person in the back seat. And the person behind you is the one who alone killed 4 members of Eclipse Moon.